Correct.
That's the only I can see it on.
That's 19 grams of sugar.
Yeah, it's just all straight sugar. That's
My
what it is.
fiance
It's not like
I like those
Yeah, some of it's like fake red.
Healthy.
That shit. Yeah, we gotta show Shelton what he got.
Oh, so it's pretty. I can see.
All right. As always, loved reading your leadership development plans. As I said before, I really appreciate you all put time into it. I can tell there's effort put into it. Because this is really about you all and your development. So it tells me that you should. Any questions with the whole leadership development plan or the class at this point?
Yes, man. One thing about one was outside of our RMC opportunities. I'm not sure what kind of things you should strive for, like president of a club, or I'm not sure what kind of things you.
Well, I don't see why not. You know, it's just like anything. You probably want to come in you don't want to walk in and say, hey, I'm going to be the president of your club. Yeah, well, we don't need to get your name first. But no, they're great opportunities at this university. There's clubs for everything. I guarantee it.
You can start a club, Kennedy.
Or you could start a club.
And you could be president.
Yeah. Honestly, I was looking at with Gavin's paper, he started like a nonprofit since he's been here. Two of them actually, and started his own company. So you know, lots of there are opportunities out there. It's just making them for yourself. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Air Force ROTC is a wonderful cauldron that you all can test out your leadership abilities. But it's kind of nice also to branch out. One, you get to see how far behind your peers are compared to you in just the couple years that you've had a chance to develop. But you also get a chance to lead them and give them an idea of where maybe they should be. Gives you that more opportunity. Anybody else? Has this class been helpful so far? I know last year's class said, oh man, I really wish we'd had this information before we went to the training. But it's so helpful. And I agree with that to a degree. But I also think one of the nice things about field training is not knowing, not having all the answers. Find out a lot about yourself. And then by going through a class like this, you've already had that field training experience. Now you can really refine those leadership skills that you saw, or maybe that you started to develop in those situations. I'll also tell you that their Air Force ROTC is working on the classes themselves, the 100 through 400, and instead of it being very Air Force 101 the first year and history the second and leadership the third, they're going to try and intermingle some things. So you're going to get leadership a little bit as a 100, as a 200, still primarily as a 300, and you're going to get history as a 100 and a 200 too. So they're going to try and mix everything together. But that's not in the end be all. Might start next year or two. They'll probably start with the 100 year, the 200 year. So, yeah, you good? All right. So I'll fun at the plane this morning. Schweitzer bad memories.
Nice.
What?
New church, so.
New church?
Yeah.
More fun.
Oh yeah.
Actually,
You did. Oh yeah. That wasn't fair.
What was that?
that you were on our team. We had an advantage.
In
When
football.
My team, you were on my team, sir.
Mm-hmm.
and that we beat them.
Yeah.
I was reminding him.
Oh, I was the advantage.
Yeah.
Unfair. The speed of a 44-year-old. I beg to differ.
Speed of a pilot, sir.
Except for ultimate frisbee. They're nasty. Okay, we did have a reading for the situational leadership. Who would like to tell me what they read, what they got out of the reading? Tell me about situational leadership. I know the vast majority of you talked about in your leadership development plan how you wanted to talk more in class. I know you're always talking.
I was gonna say that.
So who's gonna take that opportunity?
So I thought the reading, like the situational leadership part of it, more focused on relationships and like the relationship between the leader and like I guess the followers. Kind of more focused on like what different types of relationships and then like how to kind of help if it's not like necessarily like if the followers aren't necessarily kind of doing what you'd expect.
So our full range leadership model, just another model, right? The situational leadership. Full range leadership model was very focused on that leader, right? And the different, from laissez-faire to transactional to transformation. Where this one, I think, is very technique focused, right? It's almost like a checklist. And I know all those engineers out there, they love checklists. Tell me how to do it. There's that art and the science, right? So this maybe reflects more of the science side of leadership. Can't put everything doesn't match every situation, right? But it's kind of nice to have some boxes that put things in and line up. If our followers this way, maybe our leadership, the way we lead should be this way. It gives us a starting point. Yeah. Okay. All right. Anybody else want to talk about situational leadership? Anything we got on the radio? You are more than welcome to.
I was just gonna say it's kind of just looking at more, like you're saying, more focused on the follower in the situation of just judging everything based on that. An entire like how I really like how the leader would want to do things doesn't matter as much. It's more okay, they're in this place at this time, so that's how I'm gonna make decisions. The next day they're in this place, so I'm gonna judge again. And so it's just so focused on just kind of exactly where they're at.
When you all were reading about situational leadership, could you put it in a situation in your life where you saw a similar pattern? Maybe with, any examples? Kenny, you got an example?
I'm just confused about I think there's situations where they don't follow at this trend pressure. Like, there's values that you out there where this model holds.
And I'll give an example that I think is pretty analogous with the how it goes. S1, your leadership goes from S1, S4, and then the follower goes from R1. We'll get into it. Go ahead.
Give me that example at the end of the teacher. Kind of like when I worked at the restaurant, sometimes I train people, and some people you kind of always had to kind of guide and tell them to do. Other people just kind of took off and they're like did the job and kind of got it. And, so you kind of got to gauge, how much I listen to them most. And, treat each follower based on them.
Yeah. Each follower is different, right? So with this situational leadership, you can apply it to groups or individuals, right? More than likely, when I think about the situational leadership, I think about the individual because everyone is different. Everyone's more, the skill levels are different of everybody. The willingness, everybody is different. Their security level, how they feel about what they're doing. Yeah, it's almost easier to put this model towards a one-on-one type of situation. Here's our overview. What we're going to be going over. Examples of behavior. Right out of the reading. All right, two types of behaviors, right? That we looked at: the task and the relationship. When we're looking at the different leadership constructs, this was the one that was on the x-axis, right? Are you going to be very directive, or is it more of a facilitating, teaching type of a method that you're going to use for your leadership? That task-centric type of leadership, that's very one way, right? You are telling an individual what to do. The assumption from the leader with that task piece is what? What are they assuming of the followers? Go ahead.
That they'll just get it done.
Just get it done. They may not have any idea what they're doing, right? We may be talking like McGregor's X theory. The assumption there, especially if you're thinking of them in that R1 category, is they don't know anything about this. You're going to tell them exactly, concisely, what you expect of them, how to get it done. It is not going to be that two-way conversation, right? However, on the flip side is that relationship piece. Both of them you're trying to develop the individual, right? But this is much more hands-on. You're willing to hear feedback from that follower, from that subordinate, so that you can correct the way they're thinking, make sure that they're going in the right direction for whatever that means. Okay, so who wants to write on the board? Manny, go ahead. So what we're looking at is what are some factors that influence your leadership on how to get the job done. What are some of those variables that we look at in getting the job done? Oh, no, go ahead. You can call them.
The time, like the timeline of it.
Any previous knowledge?
It's like a potential emotional reaction.
How many people are involved in this?
Like the resources you have, so what materials you have at your disposal.
Along with that come skills you have, people skills that.
What about not just number of people, but what about the individual? Who are, what different groups, what different variables are we looking at? Well, just say, what are the different types you're the leader, you've got what? You've got a boss, right? Is that boss a variable?
Yeah.
Could it affect how you lead?
Yes.
The individuals that you're following? Or that you're leading, I mean, so your followers? What about your peer group? Is that important? I can tell you as a squadron commander, it's very important. Because you don't know all the answers. And that's generally who you reach out to. You don't generally reach out to your boss. Most of on the golf course, too busy. You reach out to your fellow squadron commander. Hey, have you ever seen this? You won't believe what this knucklehead did. What do you think? So that's really important. So your peer group's important too. But organizational goals. Any other ideas?
Like outside stressors, it kind of goes with the people you're leading. Like their white side approach is just hurricane or something in the area.
So there are a lot of variables, huh? Significant number of variables. That we can, again, with this, thanks, Tristan. We're just going to primarily be focusing on that leadership subordinate. So y'all saw this like charts, right? No? Good?
I didn't like that.
It's like confusing.
Okay, what's confusing about it?
It doesn't seem the best use of doing a bell graph, really. I don't know what kind of chart would be better, but trying to kind of follow a pathway as a bell graph as opposed to typically see a bell graph as like, just numbers of people or something like that, like an average is usually way to see it, and so this is just kind of a strange way to see a bell curve.
Okay. How would you?
Like them putting a bell curve there, yeah, I agree, is weird because like the way they have it, they could just have it as one of those like where it's like the coordinate graphs where you put like, oh, this top corner is like the most extreme of this bottom corner is the most extreme, and then like what we had with the types of followers.
Right, with followership.
Yeah.
What did you say?
He said,
Red diagram.
Not a random diagram. Did you say that?
Remind me at the end, kind of explain demonstrate the high label. So when you're explaining and you're guiding are the same. You're not gonna enable the person to just that step. It kind of breaks apart the last three the other person where you explain, you guide, and you demonstrate almost and you observe at the end. So I guess like it goes it's a two-way road, but
It is a two-way road, isn't it?
yeah.
I mean, and for testing purposes, stick to the main categorization. Okay, but it is because you could be in this S1 realm as the leader, and if that individual is increasing their abilities, the follower, you're going to go into more of a guiding role, right? And if they're decreasing, you're going into more of that directing role. Again, tasking much more instead of giving them that that two-way communication, exact, concise things that you want them to do. As the leader, you feel like you can really comprehend anything else. For the performance readiness scale, right? This down here is the follower. This is the leader, right? I like to think of this R1 through R4, break it down as semesters in Eugene's school. Okay. So you come in as an R1, unable and insecure, right? Remember, go back. You walk in the door of the detachment, you're like, I've never done this. I don't even know how to spell it. right? Marching, what's that? I have no idea what I'm doing. Is that something? No, day one, maybe. Were you a little bit insecure about how you felt about your, how well you might do, how the program might be? So then we get into that second semester. You still are learning. Still a little. You start to transition from that unable to able spot, but you do have confidence. You're starting to build that confidence, right? Because you're still under the guide of the leader. That leader, the flight commander, GMC trainer, has not given the reins to you, right? As a 100, you're not. Maybe towards the end of the semester, you're out front leading the flight, but more likely you're not. You're still in the flight, but I got this. I know how to do it about face. I'm awesome. You're not really awesome yet, but you think you are. Okay? So then you come back your second year, and all of a sudden, now instead of the leader completely leading you, it's more guiding you. Okay? And they give you the reins. They put you out front. You've got the knowledge, you know how to march. But now you're having to lead other people. And that's significant, right? There's a significant emotional, now I'm out front, I'm alone, I'm unafraid. You got the knowledge, but there's a little bit of regression. You still need a lot of involvement from that leader. A lot of coaching still going on, a lot of two-way communication, right? Doing this, good, work on this, what do you think about this? Maybe this might work better. It's not working. But then by second semester, your second year as a GMC, you got it wired, right? You're ready to lead, ready to go flight to field training. Yeah. Is that a good analogy? Maybe.
Well, can you like go from one to the other right away? Like you go to R4 to R1, you don't have to. But like you said, you regress, like there's a path of regression.
Well, you mentioned this is a two-way street.
Yeah.
Right?
So the couple just, I feel like you have to go through stages to get from one to the other. At least with the follower.
Yes. In this model, for the simplicity of the model they're talking about, you're not jumping from R1 to R4 or backwards. Now, this is all task specific too, right? You may be doing one task where you're at an R1, but you're doing another task where you're at a R2 or R3 or R4. So it's just kind of dependent, and the leader has to be able to then recognize that. Okay, where is my follower on this scale? Then I can go up here to this scale, and this is what I should use. In this task, the individual, I think, is at an R3. They're able, but they're still not really confident with their skills. Okay. Wow. Maybe I need to be participating. Do I need to just encourage them because they're on the right track? They know what they're doing, and I know they're going to get this way, or are they kind of regressing a little bit here, maybe back into the selling stage, and how can I help? Okay. All right. So with the follower, with that readiness piece, we're figuring out what their ability is, correct? We need to know what that is so we know where to categorize it. And ability is broken down for the reading into three parts. Their knowledge, the skills they have, their capability, and what experience they have in whatever that task is. So we determine that ability piece. Are they able? Are they unable? Yes or no? and then their willingness. Now, when we were talking about willingness on that chart, a lot of it was had to do with insecurities or unwillingness. Do you think that do those words mean the same to you, or what is willingness? When you think of willingness, are you thinking more insecurity, or are you thinking laziness? If someone is unwilling to do something, do you consider them lazy or incapable of doing it?
I think lazy.
I do too. Now, flip it. If you're in that role, and someone is like, well, do you really want to do this? Is it necessarily because you're lazy, or is it maybe because you just don't really feel comfortable with what the role is, or what the task is?
I think that's something that you can like tell that person that like if you're getting tasked with that and you feel like I don't know how to do this, like you can tell them like I'm not sure, but I'm willing to learn, like versus no, I don't want to do this because I have no idea versus like I'll try. Like I think that's the difference. Like
Most things, the willingness can also have to do with the lack of trust. Because kind of confidence, but if you tell me to do something and I don't think it's going to work, I can do less work to do it.
We know a lot of people that are, no kidding, like inherently lazy. You don't shake your head, but is it really just a lack of confidence? No.
my brothers are.
I knew you'd say your brother. I didn't even know you had a brother, but I knew you'd say your brother. Brothers are always lazy, aren't they? What if it's just insecurity?
You don't even want to go there, huh?
I have little tolerance for one of my brothers.
Paige, were you going to say the same thing?
No. My brother can be lazy.
It was some other guy that was lazy. Yeah. It's always guys. Guys are always lazy. Maybe we just saw that. We're working on it, okay? It's not lazy. We grow some mustaches. Yeah, and name that All right. We already covered these to a pretty good degree. Any questions with those? Again, these are the performance readiness section, that bottom part of the diagram. It's all about the circle. Right? So there's a direct correlation, right? There's a direct connection in this situational leadership model between the R's and the S's. The R1 goes with the S1, R2, S2. So from a leadership style, when we're looking at those R1s, it's not that they're lazy. They might just not know what's going on, okay? And they're not necessarily able to perform the task that is asked. So we look at that S1 telling model for the leadership. Can anyone give me another example of maybe an R1 that they've been in or that they've seen recently, or someone is just, they don't get it?
I don't know. I always I felt like an R1 a lot of times, like the first day in a job where I get there and I'm like, everything gets thrown at you and you're just trying to learn it and you just feel like this, and it actually helps when someone really tasks it out, like how to do it, and it helps you get to the R2 from there.
Mm-hmm. But when you're in that R1 role, that leader or whoever the superior is isn't necessarily going to be there to teach you, right? They're not going to expect feedback from you on how to do this task, because what's your feedback? No idea. I have no idea. I just got here, right? You just tell me for the first time, and I've never seen this. So they're not expecting much of you to it. There's really not much of a two-way conversation. It's that one. They're going to be telling you, do this, do that. Hopefully they're giving you concise guidance so you do it correctly. Great examples. Ultimate Frisbee. What do you think?
Oh yeah, it was just funny seeing people. Even with the Ultimate Football too, they just had no idea the rules, and if
Who
you
had no idea?
the freshmen didn't know
The freshmen
and the team didn't go
had
over it.
no idea. So there wasn't much time, but who would that generally fall to provide that guidance?
The 400.
I was thinking more flight commanders as the frontline supervisor. Maybe the PTO. But so there they are. Nobody provided them guidance. And they are unable, insecure. They have no idea what the rules are. Here's a Frisbee. Go out and play Ultimate. Maybe some of it have played Ultimate Frisbee, as a regular sport, but we play it quite a bit different, right? We're more constrained. Santana was a great example. I don't know if Santana was on anybody's team. He was all over the place. I wasn't getting frustrated with him until I had corrected him a couple times on what the rules were, and then he was blatantly disregarding it. A little bit frustrated. But in the end, I pulled him aside and I told him, I love how you're playing this. I love your aggressiveness. But one, you gotta bum me. But two, you gotta stay within the rules. And I said, but you don't know the rules. He's like, so how do you do it? But I thought that was a great example of R1. And I'm not picking on the flight police. But it was you go with me? It's a training environment. Good example. Good example of where we try to let them down. And we didn't find out until yesterday after. No worries. This is a good example. Alright, R2 selling. What are you selling? What are you selling as the leader?
Vision.
Vision? What else?
You're just trying to get kind of more buy-in from them. So like they're at the stage where they're willing to do it but don't know it, and so you want the buy-in so that willingness turns into a willingness to learn how to do it.
Okay. You're going to say the same thing?
Mm-hmm.
Most of the cadets that come into this program, I would say, don't necessarily start on that level. I mean, maybe first day, first week in the program, but they're all willing. They need to build that confidence a little bit. They're not lazy. It's just they don't know what they don't know. I would say they fairly rapidly shift to that R2 stage. Okay, they still don't necessarily know what they're doing, but they're starting to build that confidence. They feel like they belong. We work a lot in that belonging thing. Some simple things that we do for the freshmen to get them to belong. What are some of the things that we do for the freshmen in the program?
Most of my job.
Well, okay.
Retention then.
Okay. What else?
I was gonna say spirit missions within their flight, so they know like their flight mates better.
Okay.
There's an email that gets sent out from the sophomore 200 age that goes out to the freshmen. A little mentoring, heads up, kind of what to expect, and then freshman orientation information.
Mm-hmm.
We intermix them with POC and PP.
Okay. Make them feel like they're part of the team.
And then eventually even uniforms.
Uniforms. PTLs pretty much right out the gate, right? So they look like colors. They want to fit in. Picture board, right? I'll see the picture up there. Now, make them feel secure. They're not quite able to do everything that we need to. But we can start to develop that trust and that confidence in them, so that we can start having those two-way conversations, so that it's not all tasking them, but it's more of how can we work together to make everybody strong. Selling that piece. Next up, participating. Over the top of the bell curve. I kind of like that. I added the more quad chart. Yeah. They made it back in the 70s, so maybe they had a thing about participating. What's the big difference between selling and participating? Or selling and participating?
I mean, participating is kind of the goal of selling your stuff to them. You want to get them to that stage. So the difference is you show them what you want to do, but it's the difference between them actually doing it and not doing it.
Okay.
I would guess.
It's more of like the conversation going on of what's happening, and so then it's kind of more back and forth of like when you want that feedback. It's like, okay, here's the task for you, and then they give you feedback about it. As opposed to when you're like in S1 where like here's what you do. You don't want feedback because they have no idea what they're doing. Now they know what they're doing, so now they can give you that feedback.
So still a high relationship, but maybe you're not taxing them. Like, so you are taking a step back in that you're still there for them as a leader, but you're very much more in a support role instead of, hey, I need you to do this and this and this. Where in the selling piece, hey, I need you to do this and this and this. What do you think? How should we do this? And now you're giving them the reins. Here you go. What do you think we need to do? You're not giving them that task list. You're still there to help them out. Oh, I think we should do this and this. Oh, that's good. I don't know that we're necessarily ready for this. Okay, so you're still providing that relationship piece. You're still participating, but you're a little more hands off. And there's more trust. There's more trust involved. They're able. They know what they need to do, or at least you've given them the skill set to be able to complete that task. But the insecurity is going to come again from you taking a step back. Right? You're not that security blanket anymore. You're letting them go out on their own and develop and come up with maybe an answer that you never thought of. And then finally, S4, delegating, low task, low relationship. You're giving them as much rope as they can, take. Letting them lead you're developing your replacement right here. Anyone else look at it a different way? No?
You say developing your replacement.
Because at this point, you've given them all the information, right? They're completely able. They know what you're thinking. But you're also not right there in their chili, making sure if they do get off task, that you're putting them back on it. You're letting them develop wherever they're going to go completely. So theoretically, they're at a very close stage to you as the leader. And in that sense, I would say you kind of developed that next leader at this point during that S4, at least in this task. Now, of course, you may have 100 different tasks that you're doing in the organization. So, at least for this task, we're talking.
I was kind of thinking with making your replacement, it wasn't about taking the job someday in the future. It's more about the next person that comes in this follower's position is hired in that same kind of job by Rocket. This follower could train that new follower. Like everything you put into old follower.
That's a good point too. Yeah. That's, I guess maybe that's even a better way to look at it. If you're trying to delegate specific tasks, you're training the trainer here for that specific task. But I would tell you in the Air Force, literally you will have a new job almost every year. You may still be at the same base, but you may be doing something totally different the next year. So you are constantly training someone to replace you. You know, maybe they come into, maybe it's a 2D shop and they come in at 6 months after you've already been there. So you're training them to take over for whatever you're doing. All the time. All the time. Keep Johnny Codes. We already talked about the transitions going from R1, R2 to R3, R4. Where the R1, R2 again is very much leader directed, and then the R3, R4, you're looking at the subordinate to direct themselves. Range of emotions is you cut the cord a little bit, and they're out there on their own more. Again, you get that feeling of instability, insecurity. I'm not really sure about this. I don't have that leader right next to me anymore, but eventually they get over it. In applying the proper style, you can see it's kind of a circular loop. When we're doing this, what's the task that you want to accomplish? Is always going to be the first question. Next thing you gotta do, you gotta evaluate your subordinates, right? Where do they fit? Are they R1s? Or are they R4s? If you're R4s, pretty much done, right? They've got the capability and they're willing to do it. But more than likely, they're going to be in that R2 range. And then, if you follow this model, you say, okay, they're R2s. I'm going to go to S2. Right? I'm going to be hands-on, but I'm still going to be tasking them pretty much. You're going to be in that selling phase. You don't want to look at how your leadership style is doing. Maybe it's not appropriate. Maybe you misjudged what performance range they were in. Maybe you thought they were at a S2, but really they're at an S3. So maybe you need to stop tasking them more because keeping them from growing. They feel like you're keeping them down. Alright, they want to take more charge. So you reevaluate, and then keep going. How do you act? If you're in that tasking role, if you're given those tasks, we already talked about several of these. You want to be concise, right? You want to set goals. Where are we going? How are we going to get there? You're telling them how to do it. Right? It's still that one-way conversation. Set timelines for them. Being very direct and in control as that leader. When we look at that relationship side, you're definitely in more of a support role. You want to facilitate good communication between you and your subordinates. Actively listen. Several of you said you want to work on your active listening. And always provide feedback. Always provide feedback. There are the 5 steps to follower development. I know I'm losing y'all fast. Stop. Any questions with it? Almost there.
So, basically, I said earlier, Edge. I started to set manage the consequences. What does that really entail? What kind of consequences are you talking about?
Let's see. Just variables that come, I would say. Okay. You can observe that performance, and then there's going to be some potentially corrective things to get them back to making sure they are completing the tasks as you want them to do. Okay. Yeah.
What, a week? Almost?
Almost another week. Yeah. Boom. What do you think? Look at you. I'm just sleepy today. It wasn't even 50 minutes. I didn't even talk that long. Anybody have any other questions about this? Just another model. Like you were talking about this edge model, right? It was obviously very similar to this one. There are a lot of different ways to look at leadership, as we've talked about. We've talked about several different ways. These models are just one other way to look at it, another way to see it. We're all learning. We're all developing ourselves. These are just other tools. Okay. Anybody got anything for the group? No? All right. Have a good evening.
Yeah, whenever someone says announcements, I'm like, oh, I did. I had to do that.
And also, people to English but I wouldn't, I didn't have to do much.
Yeah, they keep sending us emails, and I told them, because they've like called me before, like, every day one week, and I was like, I don't